Hello and welcome to another installment of Old Bald Men Talking Crypto Bots with you, or something. Was doing some support this morning, and we came across kind of the same question many times. So we figured, you know what, it might make sense to make a specific video for just this thing and describe it a little bit more and have something we can point people to. Okay, so the things in question right now are the min-buy balance and your max cost. Both are very integral things. They are not feeder-specific things. These are profit trailer things that get modified by feeder. But for you to do any successful trading, you really need to understand how these work. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. This screenshot is not going to have some of the numbers add up. That's okay. Doesn't matter for this discussion. I just want to let you know. I know people like to, critique things and your numbers don't add up, J-Rod. I know. Okay, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's take a look. So first thing up is max cost. So what is max cost? What does that mean? It means how much can my bot spend for each initial buy? So on the normal strategy runner, the main buy strategy, the bot wants to spend money, needs to have a limit. He needs to say, well, how much am I allowed to spend? That can be a percentage, or it can be an absolute value. And you'd say, okay, well, where's that set? I'll tell you. That value is set in the host settings file in your PTF folder. It is set right there. Use max cost percentage. So if that's true, and it's true by default, so a lot of you will have that as true. But just so you know, that's where you look to make sure if you're absolute or if you're percentage. Okay? And that is the same value that's here. So how does it derive this value? It looks at the total current value, this in the red box, your TCV. Okay. In this case, I made up a number. I said 30%. That's pretty high for most strategies. Not for some of the ones I've tested with, but for most scalping type situations, that's too high. So anyway, doesn't matter. The other thing to note is this is pulled from that config you just looked at. This is the PTF variable, which maps to a corresponding PT variable. So when you set something in the PTF config, it is mapped to what it's going to change in the trailer config. Okay? So that's how it derives your max cost. Let's look at the wiki about max cost. So it says, if this amount is not available, the bot will not buy. Pretty simple, right? The other thing I want to point out is these minimum values. These are the dust values. So every exchange has a limit to what they've set to where they're going to allow to trade, and those change. And so Binance just recently changed theirs. Trex changed theirs, a while ago. So we have to be aware of it. The community is pretty good about, letting everybody know, hey, that just changed. But these need to be set. These are the minimum all max costs for each exchange. So if you're trying to buy less than this amount, you're going to get an error in your console to letting you know that. All right. Min-buy balance. What is min-buy balance? It means how much capital are you holding in reserve. When you set that number, it's, hey, do what you want with the rest of my money, but this is mine. I'm going to keep this. So, for whatever reason, whether you want to use that for DCA or if you want to use it for manual purchasing or just if your configs suck and you're like, wow, I'm totally bagged up. Well, if you've got 50% of your balance left over, you can regroup and come up with a new strategy or do manual buys, whatever. So how's that derived? Again, either it's a percentage or it's absolute, set in the host settings file. It is, again, mapped. So this is the PTF variable. This is the PT variable. In this case, I had it set up to 20%. I blacked that out because, that number doesn't match. But it looks at your pending value. So your total pending value is how the min-buy is going to calculate what that reserve is. It's also important to note that it's only for the normal strategy runner. The DCA is its own beast. It's its own thing. It wants to do its own buys. So you need to set that parameter as well, because even though you've set your min-buy balance here, DCA also has a min-buy balance, and that is also referenced in the wiki for trailer. Right there. You need to set this value in DCA properties if you always want some balance left. So you gotta set them both. It's up to you how you set them. You can set them the same, different, overlapping, doesn't matter. But just be aware that if DCA is 0, the min-buy balance in DCA is 0, it's going to use all your money. Okay? And then you're going to get errors. What's going on? So just be aware of that. You may get a min-buy balance error. We see this error all the time. This is almost always due to a min-buy balance that's been set that the user doesn't know is set. Because maybe they borrowed settings from somebody or whatever, and they're not really sure what's going on. So if you see something like this, let's break it down a little bit. The first thing to notice is it's normal strategy runner. So normal strategy runner is telling you that your buy strategy, your initial buy strategy, is having a problem. Not really a problem, more of an issue, not enough funds problem, right? But it's saying, hey, you can't buy this because the min-buy balance, or the buy that I want to do, is going to exceed your min-buy balance. Okay? It wants to buy 0.32, but you've only got 0.28. It's like, I can't do that. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of what min-buy balance and what max cost are and how they interact. Again, it's a pretty common thing, and we see that error a lot. So if you read the error and you check your numbers and things still don't add up, let us know. Post it away and we can take a look. But I think with that information, you've got a little bit more to look at, and you're not overwhelmed with everything else. Just zero in on that. So, all right, that's it for this one. We'll hit you again later. All right, see you.